Dave? Can't hear you. Click your mute button.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah, how are you?
Go. I'm all right. To you?
Sound as a pound.
That's fuck then.
Yeah, same old shit. Just trying to chuckle along when the world goes fucking mad.
I've been looking forward to this.
I know it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has.
Hello, everyone. Hang on. Let me just put us on big. There we are. How are you doing?
Yeah.
We were to all those viewing. Obviously, I don't have a script or plan these things in advance very well, so we were just catching up. It's been a while, hasn't it, Dave?
Like that.
Brilliant. Iconic, that, isn't it? It's such a good photo. You would think that he did pay someone to try and.
You would, wouldn't you? You would. You can understand why they're actually like thinking, "Hold on, he's set this up." But no, it's good. I like it. It's a good T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great look. That's what. Yeah. He's definitely deserving of the term the Orange Oracle or the God Emperor of Mankind.
He is, isn't it?
Yeah. And surely the Oracle is a good name because he'd obviously dodged bullets like Neo.
But he is, isn't he? He's like he should have Wonder Woman with the bracelets on.
Yeah. Obviously, he could afford that because he's got a posh watch. You could just get it bulletproof for a couple of $1,000.
That's a good idea. Yeah. There's a patent there, isn't there?
Right. So I just told you I don't really plan very much, but I have scribbled shit down on the back of a parking ticket I got recently that we can talk about. So that's planning.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go for it then.
So it's going to be organic. We're going to talk about some of the big stories from the week. Have you got anything you really feel is pressing that we should be discussing after the last 7 days? Or should we just wing it?
Just wing it, mate, because there's that much, isn't there, really, that's that fucking idiot that's in charge now. I mean, there you go.
It's mental, isn't it? I'll tell you what, though, you can answer a question for me because I'm shocking with the passage of time as I've got older. And I'm not going to repeat the words passage of time numerous times in an illogical word salad like Kamala Harris did. How long ago?
Labour's have got on the tough decisions. That's their one, isn't it?
Oh, that's their mantra. Yeah. How long ago was it when we met last?
Well, you went to a wedding, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. So that was when I was going. So it was about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It's got to be 2 years. I bet it's just over 2 years now.
All right.
Because I've been doing this place up for a year. So yeah. And and I told you I'd got this, hadn't I?
Yeah.
And so it's got to be 2 years. Just over 2 years, mate.
All right. Well, how's the digs looking? At least it looks pretty sorted. You've got a nice big candlestick in the background. So that definitely means it's a posh house if you've got a candlestick in the background.
It's a manor.
Manor, as befitting a blue van man.
Yeah, I was going to change the title to Blue Van Manor.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
Almost a pun as well. Oh, that's good.
Trouble is now, I've been and bought an orange pickup truck, so that's completely fucked it up.
The orange truck van with a manor. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well.
Didn't think of that, did I?
I mean, we don't have to do too many Oxbridge pleasantries, but is everything all right on your end, neck of the woods? How's things going over in Leicester?
Well, we've just had a power cut.
Oh, brilliant. So if you suddenly disappear, we know what happened.
Yeah, we've had thunder and lightning. It's very, very frightening. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Lightning then. Go on.
Crikey. It's only 11 o'clock here, so I've still got the nice weather and it's California, so it's always sunny. So I'm
oranges everywhere. Yeah. Oranges everywhere.
This is what I keep talking about, right? You know, a lot of people, I really don't like expats when they gob off all the time about like, you know, you do always feel like when you get with an expat, like I've got a mate who lives in Singapore, you always feel like he's only one sentence away from going, oh yeah, it's much better here than it is back in England. And it annoys you because you're like, yeah, you're just trying to like gob off, aren't you? So I do try and avoid doing that.
Yeah, I don't blame you though. I mean, the weather's here has gone completely shit at the moment, but you are where you are, mate. And if the weather's nice, then talk about it. It's what us Brits do. We talk about the weather.
We do, yeah. It's a national pastime. So yeah, I apologise if it sounds like I'm crowing over the fact that I've got glorious sunshine 325 days a year. Anyway, so we've done all the Oxbridge pleasantries. Let's do the big news story. So the first one I want to talk about, which obviously I was going to pick out after the week we've had, is that the PM will no longer accept donations to pay for his clothes, which is very good of them, isn't it? Clearly, he's got the fucking self-awareness of a house brick, Keir Starmer, and he thought that was a good idea.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he's been going on at Boris, isn't he? He ripped Boris a new arsehole, didn't he, after all his wallpaper and anything else, and he's done this. But I did the newspaper review the other day, and I want to know what he's getting out of this. What is Lord Ali getting out of this? I mean, it's, you know, it just don't seem right that Keir Starmer is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what I think's mental about it. When he came out about, first of all, there's two things that are glaring to me. First of all is the appalling, mind-melting hypocrisy of the lefties on Twitter who went mental about Cakegate and Wallpapergate and everything was a gate, which shows you how insufferable they are. But secondly, that if this was done by the albino jellyfish Johnson and he was getting 100 grand in donations, they'd be having a meltdown about it. Like, and the point I keep making is, I feel as if those of us on the right and in the centre right and even the centre left, normal people are quite rightly pointing out that it shouldn't be about which side they're on. Like, at the end of the day, the thing that really irritated me about it was his defence was, and loads of lefties, that Otto English guy who's an absolute chopper on Twitter was going, oh yeah, he should, come on guys, cut him some slack. He should look nice. He's representing our country. I was like, I've had some pretty good jobs in my time. I've been quite lucky, you know, going from sort of bootneck to blue collar to white collar. And in all of those jobs, I've never once been given money for clothes. Your salary is for clothes.
No. Well, I used to work. Yeah, I used to work in a factory making plastic. Yeah, so I got all my uniform paid for, mate. That's the only time I've ever had anything bought for me. Any other time when I was self-employed, working on a building yard, a building site, or anything else, you buy your own clothes and you claim the tax back on it.
That's it.
It's just us. It's just. I mean, look at that face he's got there. Look at that. What a hey.
That is. I told you that is. The Germans have this fantastic thing about the language where they create words. You know, like. And some of them are so good, we steal them, don't we? That's why we say Schadenfreude, because it's a German word that can combine them. And they have a word for that, which we say, Backpfeifengesicht. Do you know what Backpfeifengesicht means?
No, go on then.
It means you've got a face I'd never get tired of slapping.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and that is Starmer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Raina, she's more scary than he looks. Don't she?
Yeah. The ginger growler. That's what Mark Stein always used to call her, the ginger growler.
Yeah, but there's something wrong. I wouldn't let a man buy my wife's clothes because they want something for that.
There is an element of that in there, definitely.
Yeah, I don't care what this lot are saying, that he's saying, oh, he's got to look respectable. I buy my clothes from Giacomo. I can go and, you know what I mean? I can go down to any, I don't know, Asda or Tesco's or wherever does a suit. You can buy a suit, you put it on, you put a nice shirt on, a nice tie, you look smart. He doesn't need to do what he's doing. He's been bought, that he has. He's been bought, and there's some dodgy dealings going off. And I think that Tommy Romo the other day, when he was laughing on him and he was saying, come and get me, he knows something about them. He knows something. And it's
Kate,
not nice.
Kate said Raina needs a shower, in my opinion. She doesn't just need a shower. Right? I would only go near Angela Raina if I duct taped her to a van and drove her through a car wash 4 or 5 times. She's howling. I wouldn't poke her if I had 3 wellies on.
I mean, I like gingers as well, but you wouldn't go near that, would you?
No, I don't like Angela Raina at all. The thing, you know what else is shocking about this? I made a tweet about this the other day. The really depressing thing about the state of the Labour Party is for centuries, essentially we were governed over by like loads of posh people. It was like 70 rich families basically ran the world, certainly the Western world.
Yes.
And people like us, i.e. gutter snipes, we complained about this forever and said, oh, yeah, these posh bastards. When we finally got a chance in the sort of 70s and 80s, from there, we finally got a chance to run things ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And since we've done it, like all of these are good examples. They aren't old money. Angela's not old money. Starmer's not old money. Rachel Reeves and Nandi Pandy there in the background. Absolute blank. Nandi Pandy's is as thick as fucking mincemeat.
You need Lammy on there. He's as thick as...
All of them. It's embarrassing. Like, I'm working class scum. I would have thought Thatcher is the only half-decent middle/working class person who hasn't come from old money that's actually done a decent job. And the rest of them, we were better off when Jacob ReesMogg's type were running the fucking world. Like, if I had to pick now between that lot, especially those 4 midwits there, those 4 I despise more than any other because I've really got to know them over the last 4 or 5 years. Nandi Pandy, Rayner, Starmer and Reeves. I'd rather have 4 proper posh old bastards. I'd rather have Jacob Rees-Mogg, Lord Pottersby Smythe, and whoever else you can think of. So it's embarrassing, really, isn't it?
They haven't got the intelligence to do anything, have they? And the other thing I think is that Labour have been in opposition for that long. They don't know how to be in power. They don't know what to do with all this power they've got now. They're trying to make out that they know what they're doing and we've got to do this, we've got to do that. They haven't got a fucking clue. They honestly haven't got a clue.
And this is what I'm saying. And another thing is, like I've said this many times before, and I know it's quite controversial now because everybody hates the Tories because they're all woke. But Jacob Rees-Mogg is intelligent. Like I have genuinely been surprised by him. Like I voraciously read politics, but he has a profound mind. Like I've seen them try and get him with gotcha questions when he's doing interviews, and someone will bring up some really, really obscure European bylaw or something and be like, oh, what do you think about bylaw Bravo 2637? And Jacob Rees-Mogg will go, oh, yes, well, the thing with 2637, and he talks at length about it. Like, he's a very smart person. I'd rather have a small... and everyone says, like, out here, which is totally erroneous, the Americans are always like, one big question they ask is, when the election season's on, which presidential candidate would you rather have a beer with? And I always say, I don't want the Prime Minister to be like me. I feel like this is why for centuries England was so well governed, because we have a class society that works quite well. I don't want the Prime Minister to have gone to the same comprehensive school I did, where all we did was vandalism and hot wiring and sniffing glue. I want the Prime Minister to be a posh bastard with a high IQ who went to a posh school and learned lots of clever things about governance. These fuckers are the definition of, like, working the middle class midwits who shouldn't be in charge of anything. Rayner's thick and Rachel Reeves is thick. Starmer I don't think's thick, but out of those 4, 3 of them are thick. Nandi Pandy's thick. Like, you listen to them speak. I honestly believe you and I have a higher IQ and a better historical grasp than the likes of Angela Rayner.
I don't think you need IQ. I think you just need common sense about what's happening. I think Starmer's wheedled his way through life. I mean, you know this Al Fayed thing with the rape charges?
Yeah.
Guess who were in charge of the CPS when that were happening?
Yeah, it was Keir, wasn't it?
Again, Sir Keir.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a rat in a suit, Starmer. Yeah. I can't believe how much of a weasel he is. But this is what I'm saying. The other thing that I think about posh people that works, and again, this is quite controversial coming from a law-born dog from the worst town in Britain. Like, I prefer posh people. Like, I honestly do. If I've got to pick between the likes of Mogg and this lot, I prefer posh people. I honestly think an element of it is, do you know, like, when you get, like, a ghetto young black kid from America and he's got no money, or a Wayne Rooney, there's a good example.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Poor chavvy blokes who suddenly have loads of money. My favourite one as well is, was it Michael Carroll, the bin man, who won like 10 million?
Yeah.
Remember him? And the next thing he's doing like 50 prozzies and bags of coke, and he's having like demolition derbies in his back garden.
Yeah.
That is what happens to... Now, again, I understand that element because I'm working class scum, but there's a happy medium. And I understand there's an element of going mental when you get the money. But I think the reason that the likes of Starmer and Rayner because it's come out, it's all of them now.
Yeah,
The
it is,
reason
isn't
they're
it?
so like grasping and self-serving is because they haven't had any money. I think that's sort of what the French called noblesse oblige, where the rich people sort of feel a duty to the working class oiks. If you do get, I mean, because there's loads of degenerate rich scum as well, but what I'm talking about is if you do get someone who's got some integrity, but they're from a sort of wealthier background and they haven't had to want for anything, I think that can help in getting rid of that, sort of ameliorating that desire to just be a grasping twat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do
Like,
totally agree. Yeah, but there ain't. I don't know. I mean, you've got to chuck Lammy in his there as well, because he's as thick as shit. I've just been watching Paz, and he put
oh
this
yeah,
the
yeah,
mastermind thing on, didn't it? And he
brilliant.
thought how Godfather was a series. What a fucking idiot!
Yeah, the funniest one he did was he thought that Edward V came
Yeah,
after Edward. Have you heard that one?
yeah.
Yeah,
What the fucking hell?
he doesn't know. He doesn't know how succession or mortality works if you can't get that one right.
Yeah. I reckon
Like
he got them trainers that you just pull on. That's why he got them trainers on, weren't it? Because they were like just ones where you don't have to do the fucking lace up.
Yeah, Velcro. But
Yeah.
it isn't. It's like thinking Elizabeth II comes before Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
Like what
And
a plank.
he's talking to important people around the world on our behalf.
Yeah, well, he's so dense. Actually, from now on, he's the thickest of all five of them. So we'll just call him Whale Spunk from now on. I'm not going to call him Lammy. He's just Whale Spunk, the thickest man in Parliament. Whale Spunk Lambtron.
It's fucking frightening that people actually voted these idiots in, didn't it? It's beyond me.
It's
really
unbelievable.
is.
Well, again, we saw it coming, right? I mean, I've said for about 2 years, ever since Bojo albino jellyfish came in, I've been saying for years, I'm willing to see the commies in Downing Street now.
Yeah.
I'm what they call an accelerationist, because I was saying, I was one of the sort of, I mean, I called this years ago when I got totally disillusioned with Boris Johnson, like two and a half years ago. I called this, like I said, what's going to happen is you'll get maybe 15, if we're lucky, 20% of the electorate will go for reform. And because of that 20%, Labour will win a landslide. Like I called that years ago. It was obvious.
Yeah.
It's not exactly prescient. And that's what's happened. So we knew what was going to happen. I think the only thing that has surprised us is how incompetent they've been, how fast. Like, I didn't think all these massive scandals would be coming out, and Rayner and Lambtron and Keir and all of them are like taking bungs and bribes and money, and like it's been even worse. And also, I didn't see coming the outright persecution. Like, I thought they'd do it subtly and manipulatively. I didn't think they'd just outright be going like, "Oh, you chopped someone up with a machete, but you're black, so you get 3 months." And you're an old lady who was rude on Twitter, but you're white, so you get 2 years. I didn't think
it's
they'd be
almost
that
like they've been on speed, isn't it? It's like they've done a line of speed or something, and they've just gone absolutely. It's like when you let the dog out in the field. They've just gone completely fucking mad.
You're mad with power.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're drunk with power.
Yeah. Right, anyway, I suppose I better read a bit on the off chance nobody knows what we're talking about, because we just went on a rant there. But yeah, essentially, they've said that now it's totaling to £16,000 for work clothing and gigs for him. So his gigs were worth $2,500, apparently. In fact, that's reminded me. So I'll rant a bit more. One of these lefty arseholes on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, he has to look good." I was like, normal people like me, and like I said, I'm doing more or less a white collar job now. I'm earning decent money. I buy my own clothes, and to me, a nice suit. If I have to buy a nice suit, I mean, how much is my suit? I got a suit from Marks and Spencer's. That's posh to me, that being from Middlesbrough. And it was a nice suit, and it cost me about £300. That's a nice suit. You don't go, "Oh, I need a 2,500 pair of gigs and a $9,000 suit because I have to look nice for work." And as I said, I've got a soft spot, if not a willingness to vote for Bernie Sanders, because at least that commie bastard tries to live by something like his ideals. Everyone was laughing about him when he was on the campaign trail in 2015 or whatever it was, before the Trump got elected, because they found his jacket that he was wearing, and it was like a Kirkland signature one from Costco. Like, his jacket was $100. And I mean,
that means he's more relatable to us, doesn't it? It means he's more relatable
Of course, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's not a cheap jacket, $100. You could go to a charity shop and get one for a tenner. But what I'm getting at is that 300 quid is a nice suit.
Yeah.
These fucking champagne socialist sparrow-born soy boys on Twitter are going, oh, well, he needs a £9,460 suit. It's like, shut up. Like,
why? What does that suit make? What does like Joe Biden going to say? Yeah, that's a nice suit. We'll let you fire missiles into Russia just because you've got a $9,000 suit on. Fucking.
That's what so you see what I'm saying? It's not an excuse, is it? And look nice.
No.
You can look nice if you spend 300 quid on a suit. Like
well,
that's it. And you buy it with your salary. You buy it with your salary.
That's it. Tom Fords are about 400 quid.
There you go. Well, they're the poshest gigs ever. If I paid 400 quid for glasses, I'd want them to give me fucking radar vision. I'd want to be looking through walls like Superman. X-ray vision. Sorry, radar. But you know what I'm saying? A $9,000 for a suit. I'd only pay $9,000 for a suit if I had a robot hand in the fucking lining and it pulled me off when I pressed a certain button on my watch. Like that. Fancy a wank? Beep.
There you go. That didn't take long.
It's unbelievable. So yeah, this is the shite. 10 grand for a suit, and they're like, oh yes, look nice. No, seriously, like even if I was the Prime Minister, I reckon 500 quid for a suit.
Yeah,
and I'd buy it with my salary because that's what your clothes are. Literally, no one's ever bought me any clothes. Your salary is for clothes. I make the point about fat fucker David Lammy and Diane Abacus. They buy all the food on expenses. Every single sausage roll and slice of Battenberg that fat fuck has eaten in the last 20 years has been stuck on the expenses. Normal humans buy food and clothes and petrol and taxis with the fucking salary. And half the time you are doing it for work purposes. I've done loads of shit for work that I can't bill work for. But these scumbags, she's like, I need another fucking picnic before I go to work. Straight on the expenses, fatty. It does my head in.
Well, when I review food, right, I don't put the receipt in. Although it's like when I review food, I can claim it back, can't I? Because it's part of the job.
Like a tax write-off.
Yeah. The accountant told me I could do that, but I don't do it.
Yeah, can't be asked, can you? To save a few hundred quid. But that's what I'm getting at when I was praising Jacob, because the grasping bastards that they are, proper grasping bastards. Like, to someone like Raina, who's lived in a council house, she's more susceptible to someone going, ooh, look at this £4,000 dress. I mean, a lot of working class people have got integrity. If I was in her shoes, I'd tell them to poke the dress up their arse. But what I'm getting at is, if you are a bit of a midwit and you have also been out when you're a bed, you will be more susceptible to bribery and grasping and gifts. And that's another reason why I'm almost like a class traitor, because I like I keep saying, I prefer the posh twats. The other thing is, so I'm laying on the argument here for you. The other thing is, it's mildly less annoying if you get fingered by a posh bloke. Like if you know that you're going to get diddled by scumbag politicians, I'd rather get diddled by a posh twat who we know is a posh twat than by a ginger growler who goes on about the council estate, because it's like it's just as bad, but there's that little cherry on top of hypocrisy with the working class scum. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't she leave school with more kids than qualifications?
Probably.
She had a kid, didn't she, when she was 16, which she's quite proud about. I personally would be a little bit embarrassed about it if it was my daughter. But she didn't leave school with any qualifications, but she left school with a kid.
With a kid, yeah.
Hanging off a nipple.
And a fanny like a clown's pocket full of dog shit. I do. I hate Angela Rayner. I hate her. So anyway, there's the story. 16. They've all been at it. I covered it on my Twitter account as well. I believe now evidence has come out that Rayner, what's her name? Nandi
Reeves
and Rachel Reeves have all took money off these gifts from all these fucking millionaires. So it's just unbelievable.
Do you know what?
Here it is. I found the tweet. Look, this is what this daft lefty twat said. Writes for the Times as well, apparently, which is another good reason why I got rid of my Times subscription. Look, Tom Holland Honestly, this is ridiculous. Why shouldn't members of the government look good? They're representing the country. Cut them some slack. Cheers, then, you absolute bell end.
Is that a look that is that good? Is that a good look then? What he's doing now? Because he just looks like a bloke in a shirt to me.
I know, yeah. This is what I'm saying. A normal bloke knows that you can, if you spend 200 quid, you can look good. That could be, you can't tell by looking if that's a 40 quid Marks and Spencer's shirt or a $2,000 whatever shirt. No. So he's just a grasping twat. It's preposterous that lefties are defending them. Oh, he has to look good.
Yeah, it certainly ain't Giacomo, is it? That Giacomo had drowned him. But, you know, the thing as well is, right, I did a video years ago about Five Guys. And I went, Five Guys, you are the guys. Anyway, Five Guys got in touch with me and they wanted to use that clip. So I said, okay, but what's in it for me? So they says, right, well, we can give you some vouchers. We'll give you like 5 free meals at something like £20 a go. And I says, all right, and don't do that. Give them to a charity. And he says, what they do is they give them to a charity for single parents. So, you know, when a dad gets to see his kid once in a fucking blue moon, he could take him to Five Guys. So that's what I did, but not these. No, they won't give a bloody suit to somebody who's, you know, struggling like foot.
They're assholes.
Out of us all. Yeah. Disgrace.
Grasping shitbags, a lot of them. So brilliant. We've covered that with lots of swearing and insults. That's how I like to do politics these days. It's all the word. And there's the tweet I put about it. Look, because Andy Preston, the mayor from Middlesbrough, put this. Look, I'm speechless. Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves declared clothing donations as office support. Office support. So like I'm saying, they're all at it. They're all shitbags. And that was when I pointed out in response to him, I said, it's embarrassing, but we were better governed when posh twats run everything. Like, let's go back 150 years. Put some posh twat in charge. I prefer it than these grasping, self-serving shitbags. So that's annoying. Give them let's listen to this. Have you heard this one? Harris.
What she said now.
Yeah, watch this one. Hopefully you can hear the audio because this goes tits up sometimes. Yeah, you should listen to this.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans.
I just forgot how irritating it was watching it. Even the pauses annoy me because she's thick and it takes a normal, fully functioning brain does what I do. Like the words go to your mouth in about 0.3 of a second. She has to constantly stall. Have you noticed? She always goes,
it's because she can't think.
Love. Yeah, she's a fucking idiot. Anyway, I couldn't help but she annoys me.
Yeah. It's almost as if she's like making it go on longer so she don't have to give a proper answer.
Stalling for time.
Yeah.
Understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions.
I can't believe, and there's people actually nodding, it's powerful. Did you ever see a video I made a few years ago where she's talking to a load of school kids about space travel and the kids turn out to be paid actors? And she's doing that really pretentious. The worst thing about it is because she's as thick as whale jizz. When she's talking like that, she thinks she sounds profound and clever. She's always doing the dramatic pauses and going.
Well, Oprah was sitting there. Oprah, you can see Oprah going, "What the fuck are you on about?" And that's coming from Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah, you can see Oprah's like, oh my God, please say something useful.
Give me back Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, get the ginger prince back on. So that is just, we may as well finish it. She's only got 37 seconds left. It's 2 minutes of nothing, is the point.
Have they got like TV screens in the crowd?
I believe so, yeah. I think they're all like celebrities and shit.
Fuck's sake.
Because, this is another hilarious thing, because thick people don't learn from the mistakes. When they were going up against Trump and Clinton, they all did that. Joss Whedon, the director, who's quite a good writer. I've liked a lot of his stuff, but he's a typical lovey. And he made a whole reel about it, and he goes, okay, this election's so important, we're going to get a shitload of celebrities. And he did this video, like a cringe video endorsing Hillary Clinton, with as many actors as he could find on it. And then they lose, and they're all like, oh, this is weird. And I was like, you're doing the same thing now? Like they're going, every day there's a new, ooh, Taylor Swift's come out, and she's endorsed Kamala Harris. Ooh, look at this. Aubrey Plaza's come out, and guess what? She's endorsed Kamala Harris. I was like, we know what you all think. We know what Harvey Weinstein was doing, and we know what you all think, right? And you always, every single millionaire actor and singer is going to endorse Kamala Harris. It didn't work in 2016. Why do you think bricklayers and plumbers and truck drivers are sitting there, underneath a sink, turning a spanner going, well, as long as Taylor Swift's come out for Kamala Harris. Do you know what I mean? The fucking idiots. The thing
is, they ain't got to get the celebrities to vote. They've got to get like you say, the plumbers to vote, ain't you? What? Fucking just talk normal.
Yeah, let's finish anyway. So I've got 37 seconds. Let's see if in the whole 2 minutes of shite and pauses, she says anything of any note.
Decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's
she was hoping for an applause there as well, wasn't she?
And so this is a moment
she was thinking they're all going to go,
where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Vice President.
Madam Vice President. Cringe. She is a fucking mong. This bloke, Elon Musk, made life inarguably worse for people. Inarguably worse. I was like, what? He pays $11 billion in personal income tax every year, and he's made life worse for everyone. He's probably fed more kids than, well, if it was $11 billion, he's fed more kids than 50,000 lawyers combined. And these people have got this weird... There's a strange phenomena, isn't there, from the last sort of decade, with social media being what it is. What do you actually personally think of Elon Musk, and why do you think everybody despises him all of a sudden? What do you think's the reason behind that?
I don't think people do despise him in theory. I think a lot of these rich people are jealous because he's got so much power, because he's done so many good things in this world. But I think the amount of people I know a couple of people who don't like him because apparently he's a wife beater and he's done this and he's done that. But I don't think there's that many people who dislike him. Else they wouldn't be buying all his Teslas, would they?
No, that's a good point. I mean? I suppose I'm guilty of sometimes buying into the hyperbole because, when you're perpetually online. But I mean, Twitter every day is just people coming out with shit like that. Like you get random nobodies saying like, oh, he's made life terrible for everyone. I'm like, but how though? Like if you ask them how, they never have an answer. It's the same with Trump. They just say, I was arguing with a bird at work about it because you know me, I'm argumentative. I'll even argue with my colleagues at work. The Americans are like, oh, you don't bring politics up in the office. I'm like, fuck that. Like, and in pubs in America, you see signs behind the bar saying like, no politics, no religion. And that's the first thing I do when I walk into a bar like that. I'm like, what the fuck are we going to talk about then? I was like, that's the best stuff to talk. That's the best stuff to talk about when you're drinking and getting aggressive. Politics and religion. So I love it. And I was saying to her, like, why are you going to vote? Because the reason this argument came up, right, is because, again, a full disclosure, I work for him, right? And that makes it sound like I'm fucking his personal bodyguard or something. I work for SpaceX, which is a massive corporation with tens of thousands of employees. But in a very real sense, you do have a slight dog in the hunt because you have stock in the company. So they've got a really generous program, and that's why he's made a lot of people wealthy, like Tesla and SpaceX and stuff like that, because you can pay a portion of your salary. It's the same at any big corporation. I worked for GW as well in England when I was living over in Nottingham. And it's the same there. You can put a portion of your salary in to stock, and most companies that have public stock, you get the stock at a discount. So you'll give them 20% of your salary, and they'll say, we'll give you that money in stock, and we'll give you a 15% discount on the stock. So it's good because every time the stock vests, you do get slightly more money than you put in because you get a discount on the stock. And if the stock keeps going up, you're getting even more because obviously the discount, it's compound interest and stuff. So in a very real sense, So in a very real sense, anyone who works for his companies does have a dog in the hunt. And it's a clever idea, really. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's been so successful, because one of the lads I work with worked at Tesla for like 6 years. And he said, he's basically made me very wealthy. I own my house because of him, because it encourages you to work hard when you're at work. It encourages you to save for the future so you don't piss your money up the wall every weekend. Even if you just put 10% in because it's a good deal, you get the stock at a discount, and every year the stock's going up. All of a sudden, you've got a big lump of money there, and you can buy a house, so you can get a deposit for a mortgage. So it's good for the employees. So I was saying to her, the FCC have just fined us $1 billion. They keep fining us. They're fucking with our contracts. They're messing with our programs. I was like, why can't you bring yourself to vote for Donald Trump? And she said, because he's a tyrant. And I said, he was the president for 4 years. And I can't think of anything that you would call tyrannical. And it was the same thing. Like when you get into the weeds with these people and actually start questioning them, you realize that everyone has just been conditioned by the mainstream media and by Silicon Valley platforms because they never have an answer for you. And she's a nice lass who I get on with, but I was like, I'm not having a pop. Like I'm still consider myself centre left. I'm an old school. I guess in America I'd be a classical liberal. And I said, and I disagree with old school Republicans on many, many things, like abortion, for example. Not only, some people say, I'm pro-abortion, and they go, no, you mean you're pro-choice. And I'm like, no, pro-abortion, fuck them. I'm like, to me, we need more oil, we need more weapons of mass destruction, we need diamonds. We don't need more kids. We're up to like 8 billion. So, I don't care. I'm a rationalist. I almost have contempt for human life. I don't care. So there's a good example. I disagree with it. Yeah. But ultimately, the Republican platform and the Republican Party in this day and age has evolved from the Bible-thumping preachers of the 70s and the 80s. And they, to me, offer you a lot more freedom of choice than the Democrats do. And when you sit and ask them, what do you hate about him? They never have a concrete. It's always just, he's a tyrant, he's a fascist, he's a racist, he's a sexist. It's just name calling.
Yeah, they haven't got anything. All they've got is name calling. It's with Farage. All they do is just name call. They've got nothing to back anything up. They're all fucking idiots. I tell you what, piss Elon off even more and let him take his Starlink satellites down. Let's see how well the world goes then when he's decided to pull the plug on that.
I know. I'll tell you what, I've made that point. I was talking about it. I said to him, I was like, here, I'm a stubborn northern chippy bastard, me. Like, if I was him, I'd have gone 6 months ago. I went, right, not only am I taking the entire company and all my money to Singapore, so you're not getting your $11 billion in income tax returns a year. Not only that, I'm going to give all of my technology to China. That's how much of a prick I'd be. Like, I told you, I'm chippy as fuck, me. I hate the hypocritical scumbags that run the Western world. I'd be like, I'll tell you what, go on then, keep fucking with me, see what happens. I'll give Kim Jong-il a fucking intercontinental ballistic missile, you horrible commie bastards.
They're just totally fucking clueless, aren't they? They are just totally clueless.
Farage is a good example, actually. Like, we can segue into that. Like, Farage has got controversial, hasn't he? Because there's a lot of people feel like he's sort of betraying the party because he's handed over the reins to the sort of Asian bloke who's been paying him, hasn't he? So there's and the very right wing people are pissed off with Farage because they see him as no better from the Tories. Did you vote for reform? And what do you think of Farage?
I voted for Andrew Bridgen because he was in my area. What do I think of reform?
Yeah,
I don't particularly. I think that the better ones are the Tories, Labour, and Lib Dems, and that. Yeah. Do I trust them? I'm not sure because Andrew Tice pushed that. He pushed the COVID jab, didn't he? And he went to Ukraine and he did all that virtue signalling shit. I don't know, mate.
Richard Tice, right?
Richard Tice, yeah. Who did I say?
Andrew Bridgen, Richard Tice.
That's it, yeah. So I don't know. I just the better ones. I think if we can get them in, it would improve. But it's like a politician, innit? I don't know whether I trust the fuckers anymore. I don't know who to trust in politics because they all piss on us. You know what I mean?
It is hard. I think with Farage, he's clearly a better option than the rest. Because ultimately, at least he's not a Tory or Labour. Like, it's all Lib Dems. Like, anyone outside the big three, I prefer him. But I do feel like, I think it is a boomer mentality. Like, to me, you can say, this is like I disagree with Lawrence Fox. You can say that you do think it matters that you do preserve the ethnic inhabitants of the country without being a full-blown fascist or they love calling everyone Hitler. Like, to me, I don't think I'm even very right-wing. But I do align with many of the policies subscribed to by people that would be classified as ethno-nationalist because, to me, I want a socially liberal society, but if in the future the whole world is just one gigantic shit country, that will be a bad thing. So, like, I think that it's bad for the UK in the same way that I think it would be bad for Japan. Like, if in 50 years' time they've moved all the Japanese people out of Japan or they've gone extinct because they don't shag each other and they've just moved 50 million Nigerians in, that will be a bad thing. Like, to me, I look at it almost, again, because I'm not like a religious man, I look at it almost as like, because I do love biology ever since I was a nipper and I read like Richard Dawkins books and stuff. Like, if we're going to go on about preserving a panda, and even pandas don't even fuck each other. Like, you've got to show pandas porn and give them Viagra pills. Like, I mean, they're sort of spitting in the face of survival of the fittest. Yeah, if you've got to wank a panda off and guide it in to get it to fuck another panda, they're not really putting in any effort themselves, are they?
That could be the Labour cabinet, couldn't it? Bunch of pandas.
Yeah. But you know what I'm getting at is, I don't even see how that's very controversial. Like, why do they have this thing where it's mega, mega, mega controversial to just say, like, yeah, of course the white native inhabitants of the British Isles should be preserved. They should be preserved in the same fucking way that a zebra should be. Like, I don't think that's that controversial.
No, I don't.
Why won't they say it? Why won't they say it? Because Farage and Fox have both said it, haven't they?
Yeah. They're scared of it, though, really. They're scared of upsetting people once again. I was, a while back when I started this YouTube thing, my channel grew because I wouldn't say the wrong thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, you think, hold on, Dave, you're not being yourself. You've got to be yourself. And people are scared to say what they think nowadays. They're terrified because it might cost them a vote, an election, or whatever. So
yeah, you have to, though, don't you? You have to. I mean, again, you more than me have learned that to your cost. Like, yeah, my channel's been shadow banned and I've been banned several times and that sort of thing. You clearly have been absolutely hammered because you were in six figures like when I met you, and now I don't even see your stuff. Like, I only see your stuff when you share it on Twitter. It just doesn't show it to me YouTube because I've had that 2 week ban,
isn't it? Yeah, I've had that 2 week ban because I read some of the BBC.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's just ridiculous.
I've got about 6. I told you, one of mine, I got a 2 week ban for reading a Time magazine article. I just read it verbatim.
Yeah.
Because they're unbelievable.
You appeal. You appeal and nobody's listening to it. They just say, nah, fuck off. Fuck off.
unless you're a lefty, then they appeal quick and say, "Oh yeah, sorry, we banned you."
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I literally read
Yeah.
it was a story entitled "Here's how we won the election." It was when Biden won, and they wrote this big piece crowing about the fact they built a broad coalition of people. Basically, they were just saying, "Yeah, we cheated. What are you going to do about it?" And when I read the story out, they went, "Oh, you can't do that. That's misinformation." I was like, "Misinformation? I'm reading Time magazine. If they can publish it, surely I can read it." It's unbelievable.
I read something that the parent of a daughter had died through taking something that a lot of people in the world have taken to stop them from catching a cold. And they wanted to know.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being circumspect so I don't get banned as well. Taking something that a lot of people have taken. Yeah, we all know what you're talking about. Yeah, we all know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and she wanted to know why they weren't told that it might be a little bit bad for them. So I read that out. Next thing I know, they time stamped it and said, "You read this out at 16 blah blah," and
like the
you got a
Gestapo.
2-week ban.
Like the Gestapo. At 16:27, you said the words. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've only managed to get my channel slightly bigger now, out of the sort of thousands. It took me about 3 years to get to 5 figures, I think. And that's just literally because the last sort of, I monetized my channel about 10 months ago, 11 months ago, and funny old thing, then they started showing people shit. And for that 11 months, I've been good as gold and only ever referred to our overly zealous religious brethren using careful synonyms like the regulars at Alan's world famous snack bar.
Yeah.
But you're not even using the English language anymore. You've got to like turn yourself in knots to discuss things.
You've got to confuse the AI that's listening to this, ain't you?
Yeah. So, and the thing is, even you and I, when we're doing that, we still make more sense than Kamala Harris. You can say like, okay, so the people that got lined up outside the medical practitioners to have the liquid device inserted into the flesh of their upper bicep, those people, and you go, oh yeah, well that makes more sense than Kamala, fucking word salad Harris.
People know what you're saying though, don't they? They've worked it out. They know what it is now. So
it is. It's a crazy time to be alive. And again, I mean, even talking about that, we can, as long as we don't say any of the buzzwords. Even talking about that is a mad thing in it, because people like me and you and almost everyone in the world, this is why these people are so evil. They call us all deniers now. And I'm like, you'll find almost nobody in England. There's a tiny element of it in America, like 2% of them. But you'd find almost nobody in England who, if you call them a Victor Delta, venereal disease denier, right? Yeah, we can call it VD, V denier. There is almost nobody you can really point at in the UK who is a VD, because every single one of us grows up perfectly hale and hearty. And we go to school and we get TB and we get polio and all that shit, and we're all healthy and
that
fit
bit of sugar, that little bit of sugar we used to get.
Yeah, I've heard that was before me, you old bastard. I just got a normal jab. Yeah, I've heard about the sugar.
You've got the big hole in your arm, then.
Yeah, I've got that big. Yeah, looks like it's. You know what's funny? I healed up dead well from the high school one, so I got another one when I joined the Corps when I was like 19 when I joined up, and they were like, "Oh, you haven't had your TB?" I was like, "Yeah, I have." They went, give me another one anyway. I was in the military, so to call me one is the height of lunacy. I got everything. I got all me shit as a child, all my shit as a teenager. I got 3 anthrax jabs, yellow fever, everything the military gave me. I am positively swimming in toxic chemicals. And then they'll say,
you look like the Ready Brett kid then. You should look like the Ready Brett kid in the dark with a fucking glow.
Shrek. So basically, I've had every single one of them. And then the second you disagree with them on anything, or go, yeah, but didn't Joe Rogan take that stuff and it made him better? They go, denier. And I'm like, how can you call me a denier when I've had 370 jabs? How can you call me that? But they do it shamelessly.
they're just fucking mad. Once again, they just try to embarrass people into doing something and brainwashing them and blackmailing them. And if you don't do it, then you're going to kill your granny. Well, our granny's fucking dead, so it ain't mattering.
Oh, Rotten Politics is in. Yeah, we'll have to get him on one of these days. I quite enjoy doing live streams with other people.
Yeah, they are good in there. I like doing them.
Yeah, when you've got a natural talent for talking absolute bollocks constantly like we do, it makes it quite interesting when you get together for a chat. But so
I love doing my newspaper reviews. I love them, but
comes natural to you. I think you've got natural sort of gift of the gab.
Well, so have you, haven't you? You've got to wait. You know, I think if I've worked in a male-dominated environment. You've worked in a male-dominated environment, and I think you get a language of your own, don't you, that you can use. And then I used to read the newspaper in the canteen at work, and that's where I got all this idea from. So
yeah. Well, I've made that point a lot. Like I think slightly older people, like I'm 44, and you're about what are you? 54? About 10 years older.
56, I think.
56.
Yeah,
nearly.
56. Yeah.
Our generation, like I said, your general knowledge is better. Like I know that sounds terribly arrogant, but you talk to 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids now, and they're just always on the phone looking at TikTok. Like when I was a teenager and I first started working on a building site, when I was like 16, you used to read the papers for an hour a day because you got an hour break. Did. And every day you'd have nothing else to do because you didn't have a phone. I didn't get a phone till I was 20. So it was like every day I'd spend an hour, I'd read the Mirror, and everyone buys a different paper. So Dave would get the Sun, Dave would get the Mirror, the other Dave would get the Star, and you'd go through them all. And it was like, that gives you some common sense and some grounding, doesn't it? And if it gives you an
education. It gives you an education reading up.
And if you think about it, you actually get balance as well because you read the Daily Mirror and then you read the Daily Mail. And you're actually getting a bit... And that's one of my theories why boomers and sort of middle-aged... I guess I'm technically middle-aged at this point. It's one of my arrogant theories as to why we're slightly more put together on this stuff because reading newspapers back in the day with everybody's opinions in and the letters page was always good value. You get to understand other people's point of view, don't you?
Yeah. Well, back in our day, journalists were journalists, weren't they? They went out and found a story and did the report. A bit like your Mike Graham and Kevin O'Sullivan of Talk Radio. They go out and do proper journalism. Nowadays, they don't. They don't do a journalist job in case they get the sack or the backer of the newspaper gets rid of them. They're not proper journalists no more. It's like when they had that nasty cold and they were all there in Downing Street, none of them had asked the Prime Minister or Van Dim and Chris Notsawitty a proper question. They wouldn't do any proper journalism.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was the modelling. It's not, it was all
It's not unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not unbelievable.
It was I mean, don't get me started because like I said, we can't go on that road because I get so angry. Every time I think about it, I get angry. I keep bringing it up like
I do.
Because my hobby's going to the gym and I go like nearly every day. And when they close them and I had to just walk up and down a multi-story car park steps every day, it makes me furious. It makes me furious. And then these millionaires, Ellen DeGeneres, when the pandemic hit, I was living in a one-bedroom flat. We're in a one-bedroom flat in Los Angeles, and she's in a 20-bedroom mansion with a swimming pool and a tennis court and a gym and a personal trainer. And she's going, oh, just do your part and stay in. It's not that bad. You're getting paid to stay in. I was like, it's not bad for you, you absolute hooer with your fucking tennis court and your swimming. But it's bad if you're a poor Mexican and you're in a one-bedroom flat with 2 kids. Can you imagine? And these people have got the life experience and common sense of a house brick, and they just say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. What are you complaining about? It's like, because you've got a pool and a gym in your house, you absolute hooer.
Like that fucking Sam Smith, weren't it, when he sat on his doorstep crying? Big fucking girl. Well, he ain't. No, he's the big boy because he wants to be a girl or something, doesn't he?
he wants to be something androgynous thing. So that irritates me. I'll tell you what, let's finish with one more story that'll drive us insane.
Okie dokie, buddy.
That'll cheer you up. So here's a good one. Found this with Simon Webster today. You're not going to believe this. I'll read you this if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
This is mental, so I'll read you it. I'll do my best Trevor McDonald voice. A migrant who beat a person to death in an ambulance has been allowed to fight deportation as he risks ill treatment if sent home. The Ugandan, 37, who cannot be named for legal reasons, was part of a gang who chased their victim into the back of the ambulance. The killing was then carried out in front of the paramedics. He beat him to death with a club in front of the paramedics in the back of an ambulance. He was convicted of murder in 2005 and got life, which obviously in broken Britain is not life.
Isn't.
You get out in 2024. He was then subject of a deportation order back to Uganda, but he appealed it, obviously, and the judge said under the European Convention of Human Rights, he has psychiatric disorders and faces ill treatment if he gets returned to his country. He said the poor old Ugandan savage that beat someone to death in the back of an ambulance while horrified paramedics looked on would have a decline in his health if he went back to Uganda. And as such, we can't send him home. Even though, because of that, I read a different story. I had more details about it, about his mental health. Because of his claims of his mental health, he said that he's extremely paranoid and frequently thinks people are talking about him and it makes him angry. Right? So he's mental to the point where he might flip out and beat someone to death on a train. But because we're worried about his fees, we can't deport him.
I tell you, this mental health thing, it's just it is the get out of jail free card, isn't it? It's just anything. If I get nicked for speeding, I'm just going to say, got fucking mental health there. If I'm not, if I've been like out of the film Speed, if I'm not driving at least fucking 60 mile an hour, I've got mental health issues. They're all fucking mad, ain't they? They're all fucking mad.
It's unbelievable. And again, this was like the type of thing you thought was comedy back in the day. Do you remember on Full Metal Jacket where they're talking about the lad who wants to get out of the draft? So every time they try to talk to him about it, he just starts wanking. Says he's like psychological problems. Like, oh yeah, why do you think you shouldn't go to Vietnam? And he's like, yeah, pulled himself off. You could just do that, couldn't you? Like, that'd work now. Yeah. Just to say, oh yeah, why did you beat someone to death with a brick? And you go, oh, one moment, pull yourself off in the police van. It's a crazy state of affairs where all you have to do is play the mental card and you can do whatever you like.
I don't understand how they just get away with it. The trouble is, though, that these lawyers and solicitors and that, they love it, don't they? Because they know they're going to get a big payday out of this.
Yeah, ambulance chasing lawyers. The other thing I'd point out as well, being a man who knows a little thing or two about committing gross acts of horrifying violence, it's not easy to beat someone to death. It's not like shooting them or stabbing them.
Yeah.
Beating someone to death takes a lot of effort. Like that is, this guy is a full-blown monster, like a stone-cold killer. Shameless, brazen killer who did it in front of the no doubt horrified. Like the poor bastards obviously ran into the back of an ambulance going, help me, and thought, oh, he's not going to do it in front of these two nice paramedic ladies. And he's just battered him again and again and again and dashed his brains out in the back of an ambulance. And now we're treating him like a civilized gentleman who's got a mental health condition.
It's like something out of a film, though, isn't it? It's like something out of a film.
It's like
Vinnie Jones. Yeah, you could see like Vinnie Jones in a who were he married? Guy Ritchie film. You could see it was him. Vinnie Jones chases
with a car door.
Yeah, but it's this, isn't it? You can, you know what I mean?
It's mental, isn't it? That is mental. And the thing is, you know what I really, really hate about these actually lefty arseholes? They always use the law as like the defense, as if you've got no defense against that. Like, checkmate, the law. I was like, the law since time immemorial. Like the oldest settlements in Iceland, one of the oldest gatherings for the birth of democracy, wasn't it? Like, have you ever? You're a bit older, aren't you? Have you ever watched the Ascent of Man documentaries?
No, mate, no.
Oh, they're amazing, amazing. Basically, it was this class documentary series. It was made in the 70s, like early 70s. I think it was about 1973. and it's presented by a guy called Jacob Bronowski, and he was a super intelligent mathematician. And he does this fantastic documentary series, and he talks about the beginnings of sort of democracy. And one of the earliest ones from Europe was in Iceland. It was like a cave where they found a load of people who 10,000 years ago or whatever was the first time they hypothesized that Europeans like got together in an area and said, these are the laws. Like, we have to put rules down. Like, ever since humans started hanging out together, we had laws.
Yeah.
And it was for order. So, like, you know, in order to have a village, you have to have rules and regulations. You can't just take whatever you want if you're strong, sort of thing. But the whole point of that is all laws are man-made. Like, any law that we adhere to is supposed to be written down, and it's arrived at after huge debates and discussions and lengthy processes, and everybody agrees, okay, we should do this. And the point I keep making about it is, if we live in a democracy, saying law isn't an argument. It's like calling someone a racist, saying to someone, tell me why you don't like Trump. Yeah, it's the same thing, and nobody points this out. It's not an argument. An argument has to have substance and logical conclusions.
Yes. It's like Godwin's law, isn't it? Godwin's law or Godwin's law.
Godwin's law, yeah. But it's true, isn't it? If you say, why don't you like Farage? And they say, because he's a Nazi. They're just calling him a name. It's like saying, why don't you like Dave? Oh, because he wears gegs. You're just picking a physical thing about someone. It's like, no, an argument would be, I dislike his economic policy, and I will explain that to you now. So when they say, it's the law, checkmate, I'm like, that's not an argument. Laws exist because we all gather together and decide what should and shouldn't be the law. And if we want, we can change them very quickly. And the point I'm getting at in a lengthy way is, do you think if you asked the general public, should this human toilet be treated with respect and dignity and allowed to stay in the United Kingdom after beating someone to death in the back of an ambulance? I guarantee you, if you put that to a referendum, like the Brexit vote, I guarantee you it wouldn't be no 48-52 shit. It'd be 96.
Can you be sure of that? Now, can you be sure of that? Because some of the people that are walking around now, all these like, let's save refugees welcome, Allah loves trans, or what was the, trans for Allah. They are fucking thick as shit. They are thick as shit. So when you say 98%, no, I don't think it would be 98%, mate. I think it would be a lot lower than that, because half of these fuckers walking around in the streets nowadays are completely clueless. They're fucking idiots.
The way you worded that made me laugh, because I've never heard Allah loves trans. I've heard some strange ones, but I've definitely never heard Allah loves trans.
The trouble is, when you live in Leicester, you've got to be careful walking down them streets now.
I've never heard that though. Like, surely even the most mental, like, who's the most mental lefty I can think of? Owen Jones. Good old fucking reliable there. Surely even Owen Jones doesn't think Allah loves trans.
No.
Surely Owen Jones.
I'll rephrase that. That was like me getting excited. Obviously, Allah doesn't love trans. And if there's anybody out there who thinks that he does, I was just a miswording. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, definitely. I see that one I've heard of. That's why I was laughing, because the way you heard it. I've heard of Gays for Palestine.
That's the one. Gays for Palestine.
But yours is
fucking realise.
Yours is so much better than Queers for Palestine. Allah loves trans. I think we should make a T-shirt of Allah loves trans.
That's what they think, though, don't they? They actually think that Allah loves them, and He doesn't. He doesn't love them.
He definitely doesn't love them. That's like saying that as like saying Jacob ReesMogg loves shell suits. It's just demonstrably, factually not true.
I'm going to get a shell suit company, and I'm going to pay him to wear shell suits.
Get Jacob to rock a lumescent lime green shell suit, like
wear
a
cap
scouser,
back to front.
Yeah, but I mean, it's mental, isn't it? It's literally in black and white for the whole world to read. And there's dozens of passages where they say, if a man lays with a man, you've basically got to cave his nut in. And then they'll make a sign saying, Queers for Palestine, and they think...
Yeah, they're shit, aren't they? They really don't have a clue. So my answer to that question, mate, is no. I don't think 98% would think that. I would say there's a high percentage would say, yeah, let him stay. How many times have you seen that people are going on holiday and they found out that there's an immigrant or a murderer or a rapist being taken back to his country and they've stopped the plane from taking off?
Oh, that's unbelievable, isn't it? That's unbelievable.
So, you know, you've probably got a plane with 250 people on it, and there's people saying, no, you're not taking off, you're not taking off, you're not allowed to take him back. What the fuck are you lot on? You fucking bunch of muppets.
You're even more black-pilled than me then, because I honestly would have thought, if I was to just pull a number out my ass, I would assume 90%. Like 9 out of 10. Don't you reckon? You reckon it's, what, 60-40? 5
or 10 years ago, mate, I'd have totally agreed with you. But when you see all these twats on protests, my daughter went to college, right? And she came back and she was sprouting left-wing bollocks. And I went, you can pack that fucker in now. I'm not having it. Anyway, she left college. She got a job in a shop. She's normal.
Yeah.
so no, I don't think it would. I don't think it would be that high, mate. I'm sorry to shock you, but do you know what I mean? That you look
very, very wise. Getting her to get a normal job, Dave. She'd be.
Yeah.
If you left her in university, she'd have purple hair.
Oh, no way. No way was she going to university. Fucking all that junk hanging off her face.
Yeah.
You know, the other week, was there a protest in New York about something about Palestine? And you're thinking, hold on, you're doing it on 9/11 when, you know, one of the biggest terrorist atrocities happened in the world, allegedly, because sometimes I think that, and yet you're all walking around New York talking about Muslims and stuff. And I think that just doesn't weigh up at that time of the year. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. No,
perhaps I'm thinking too deep.
No, it's shocking. They haven't got. This is what they say about them, isn't it? They're offended by everything and ashamed of nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And something as closely related to that act of like mass killing, I'd be ashamed to even go near.
Exactly.
Like in the 80s, you would think. In the 80s, we had like wanker protesters, you know, commie protesters, but they had some decorum in the 80s. I mean, they even had some decorum like 10 years ago. This is what I'm saying. Everyone calls it the woke mind virus. That is a thing. Because I'll tell you a good example. I remember, do you remember Margaret Thatcher's funeral? I think I've told you this before. I went to her funeral.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been out the corps long and I got my first job and I was working for the council. So because I had my heavy goods license when I left the corps, our first job, I literally got it within like a week of starting looking for work, was driving a recycling truck for the council in York. It wasn't a bad job. It was, you know, plenty of fresh air, exercise. And because loads of them were lefty arseholes, it was Lib Dem area in York, full of lefty arseholes. All the middle class whites were in the office there. I put in 2 days holiday for a long weekend. They said, where you going? I said, I'm going to go to Thatcher's funeral. Just knowing it'd piss them off. So I actually went to Thatcher's funeral. And so that was what, 2012, 2013, something like that. So yeah, little over 10 years ago. And even there, they had a sense of decorum. There was hardly any protesters. And I remember one, and he had a megaphone, and he was at the end of a street where we're all walking down, and he goes, she wasn't a good prime minister, she did this. And someone shouted, you wanker, show some respect. And he went, yes, I am sorry, I'll quieten down. And like, they just stopped talking. And my missus was with me, American, and she was like, oh, that was a very nice British protest. He was very polite there. And I went, yeah, he was, to be fair. The lefty arsehole. But that was then. That was 10, 11 years ago. Now,
that's what I'm saying. 10, 11 years ago.
Piss on a grave in front of the family.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably hate Thatcher more than they hate Jimmy fucking Savile.
Oh, I'm sure they would. Absolute ratbags with no shame at all. Have you seen how many of them defend pedos? It's unbelievable.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah, mate. I've seen it. It's fucking unbelievable. It is. It's absolutely... I did a video on the family sex show a while back. Fucking hell, the amount of abuse I got on that. Unbelievable. What they were doing they were taking kids like infants to a stage show, and these adults were getting on the show and stripping off. and like 60-year-old men with the cocks out in front of bands. They're fucking mad.
That's
and they defend this. They're saying it's educational.
Oh, well, what about Harriet Harman? Harriet Harman genuinely did do some proper, like, pro-Nazi shit, but no one even believes me when I bring that up.
You know that Pi, the paedophile information exchange? There's a bloke in there called David Joy, and he lived in my fucking village, and he used to take kids into the fucking garage he owned to take pictures of him. It's unbelievable.
It's mental. And this is what I'm saying, like, in the good old days, in like the 80s and the 90s, even the Labour voters would have been like, yeah, cave his head in. Wouldn't it? Like, if you went to like a Labour heartland, like Newcastle or Sunderland, they weren't all like, oh yeah, up is down, left is right, 12-year-olds should be sucking their granddads off. This is the shit they come out with now. Like, the woke shit has just completely turned everyone's brains to mashed potatoes.
It has. They've got no fucking idea. They're quite happy for a young child of 7 to be done up the arse and then have sympathy to the bloke because it's ruined his career.
I know, it's mental. Even I mean, we could talk about it all day. The one last thing I'll say about that is, even when they prosecute them, the legal system's in on it, because everyone kept making this point the other day when they were doing all them dirty, filthy bastards for doing all that nonsense in Rotherham. Yeah. They didn't charge them with the serious shit, which is obviously the R word that they don't like. They were charging them with unlawful sex with a minor or something. And I was like, listen, under your own laws, you cannot consent when you're 12. So it's not unlawful sex with them. It is the R word that gets people very, very angry. They should be treating them exactly the same.
They turn around and they say, if we do them on the lesser charge, we'll get them in prison. No, just do them on the fucking right charge and get them locked up for life. Get them deported. Get them do whatever. Yeah. Just grow a backbone.
I know. And again, this is what I'm saying. That surely the majority of the general public support very, very long jail sentences for full-blown surprise sex adherents. Surely the public support it. That they keep going, it's in line with sentencing guidelines. Well, fucking poke the guidelines up your shitbox and get some new guidelines. Because I don't believe that the general public is on board with slapping kid gloves on people like that.
Yeah, well, look at that twat O'Brien on LBC trying to make out the Sun were the bad people for grassing up on Hugh Edwards. You know, what the fuck are you on? When all said and done, the Sun found out. I don't like the Sun and all that, but the Sun found out and they did it. They got him out there, didn't they? They got it reported. And all these lefty tossers, I mean, James O'Brien, he looks like a pisshead. He looks like he's got a blotchy face like Alex Ferguson and
he'll be another corrupt, decadent, accepting $1,000 bottles of wine off some fucking prick. Of course he will. They're all like that. They've got no self-control. Yeah, they are. It's one of the things of liberalism, isn't it? They've got no self-control.
No, they ain't. They're all, it's do as I say and don't do as I do, and it's all pathetic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is shocking. So that's the point I'd make. We should. The law is not a defence. Anyone who says that to you and anyone who's watching, as soon as they say it's the law, a logical response is, well, change the fucking law. If the general public en masse do not agree with treating full-blown kiddie diddlers with kid gloves, fuck the law. Change the law. That's not an argument. We decide what the law is. You horrible, slimy shitbag. And if we think 2 years in prison for rogering a 10-year-old above a kebab shop is absolutely spitting in the face of the word justice, well, change the law. That's a shit argument. That's a non-argument to just say, the law, checkmate.
Yeah, it is. And then go back, find out why that kid was in that position as well. I don't mean in that position, but how he ended up there above a kebab shop, and find out where it starts from. So you might be able to actually save kids in the future.
Yeah, totally agree. Nick the parents.
That's just the exclamation mark at the end of the rape. But let's go back. Why was that kid out at 2 in the fucking morning and the parents weren't looking out for her like Kate and fucking Doodah McCann?
Totally agree with you. Oh, well, how many times have I made that point? If Kate and Jerry McCann were called Kate and Jerry McDogshit and they lived in a council estate in Middlesbrough, they'd have got 5 years.
Yeah.
Easy. They would have got done for reckless endangerment of children. But because they were middle-class arseholes, they got to meet the Pope.
Yeah.
Innit? If they were Mackhams, Kate and Jerry McDogshit from Wearside, and they were getting pissed in Weatherspoons when the kids went missing, they got fucking jailed for it.
Yeah.
That's back in the class society we've got.
Me and June used to live in a place called Rothley. Well, on the border of Mount Sorrel and Rothley. And they lived a cricket ball throw away from where we did. And I know a lad who lives in the village, and apparently they like the keys in a bowl. They like that.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise
Catholics, isn't they?
Left footers are all a bit queer. Anyway, all right, we'll have to call it there because I've got free tickets to the Santa Maria Air Show today, so I'm going to go and watch an air show.
Hold on, you know, Lord Ali, are you getting free stuff?
No, I think it's because our work sponsors them. So me being a grabbing northern bastard, most people ignore the work emails, but I read every single one of them because occasionally you get free shit out of it. And there was one the other week. They sent out an email, HR, saying, "Oh, we've got 8 tickets to the Lord Mayor's something." I guess because again, it's a small town with a big corporation in it. Said there's free tickets to the Mayor's thing, and just be aware there's entertainment and free food and drink. I sent them an email straight away. I was like, I fucking love the Mayor. I've always loved the Mayor. I've always loved politicians. This is when my integrity goes out the window when I can get free booze. I'm slagging off Keir Starmer. But if Abu Hamza offered me a 6-pack of Special Brew, I'd pull him off on the fucking 9 o'clock news.
roll up with the banging off his hook.
Yeah, happy days. Anyway, all right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for coming, Dave. We'll do this again sometime soon. And
do this again. I've enjoyed this, mate.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll come see you next time I'm back. I'm going to take a trip next year back to the UK. I'm going to try and put on a live. And get a function room and fill it with pissheads and do some, I guess you'd call it comical news in person.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I take a trip or invite you next time I'm back. And,
all right, buddy, that's great.
Soon. All right, thanks for coming.
Cheers, buddy.
See you later, mate.
Bye.
And everybody else, thanks for coming. I'm done. I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching and all the thumbs up. And I'm assuming nearly everyone who's here is subscribed to Dave already. Please go and do it if you haven't. I'm off. Have a good weekend. See you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.